Hariom, so this is a video on all the Dropbox folders, just to introduce people to how the files and folders have been organized. So this is for Vani. Now I'll talk you through all the folders that you can see right now. Events is basically all the events that we've done in the year, and that's been organized by date. So in 2016, you'll see there's Dil, there's Gurji's Yagna, he did it, North London Yagna, South London Yagna. So all the big events are here, and the files are saved within that. So every Yagna usually has a PowerPoint, a floor plan, a sales summary that gets sent after, a saver plan. So all of that is usually in the folder. So if anyone wants to have a look at it, they have access to all of that beforehand. So that should help. Now, if we go back to Vani, that's events. General is anything that doesn't fall into any of the other criteria. So the opening hours, that's put in front of the bookshop. Customer lists and numbers, that's extracted from a vend, but we haven't updated that for a while, as you can see. Pickups, so I used to, until early last year, keep a track of all the people who are traveling to India, because at that time we were getting things with people. So if someone's traveling, they can get a few books back. So it's a good tracker to keep in case you need something emergency. But 2016 we stopped doing that for accounting purposes with CCMT, particularly less and less. So we didn't have the need for it, but it's a good one to have a look at in case we are starting that process again ever. Prasad Pustika Vani calendar, so that's something that was done last year. So beginning of the year, all the events that we know were listed every single day of those events, what Prasad Pustika, if there was any Prasad Pustika, that was clarified and approved in the beginning of the year. Of course, closer to the event, when we start planning, we do have a relook at it and see, okay, no, actually this doesn't work, or let's change it, or let's not change it, or this is fixed. But at least there is something in process for that, so then you can look at stock and you can make decisions on buying and stuff like that. Till World Pay Tally, this is something that we used to do, but we don't need this now, but it's just something, an archive. It's to tally World Pay transactions from World Pay report with Vend, which we attempted to do, but again, it's not very comprehensive, but it was an attempt template that was made. Then we have the Vani calendar 2016, marketing plan. The things that kind of don't fall into any specific categories are all here. Then we have invoices, which is an important folder. Again, set by years. So if we go into 2016, we'll see marketing invoices, the things that have been bought for the bookshop. So during events, let's say we print something or we laminate something, or all the invoices are saved here in marketing. And then stock invoices, so when we buy things from CCMT, from CM West, or we produce something within the UK, those invoices will basically go here. So you'll see here production is CMUK productions, and shipment invoices is shipment. So even within that, there's further breakdown. So these are all the direct invoices, and there is another folder here. It says other docs. So let's say when shipment is coming, you get different types of documents from the shipping company. You get notice of arrival, you get the customs initial emails, so any communication that you would get, or the physical document that you would have scanned and sent to them, all of that basically gets saved here. This is just one copy of the original or the final invoice, basically. So And then these are the two files that I maintain. So order list is all the orders that we place, we kind of maintain that, and this is what we would send to finance team when we kind of update any liability, all the liabilities that we have. That happens every few months. We kind of make sure that we are on top of it and communicate that with finance team. But that's the orders list. Vani expenses is anything that doesn't fall in that category, or so orders with CCMT and CM West are not in this. So small expenses that we have, or anything we buy. So last year we bought tablecloths, we bought lots of different things just for or the racks that we bought, the book racks. All of that, the invoices go in that, and this is kind of a complete spreadsheet that's maintained for all the invoices. Going back to Vani, and we have labels. Labels is basically images of the labels that are put in the bookshop. You'll see whether it's introductory and intermediate and that kind of stuff. So let me just show you one. So you see, this is what was printed on special paper and pasted on the cupboard. So that's the PDF version of that. Then we have the Gita donation images. So anywhere that you see TIFF, that's with layers. So you can open them in Photoshop and you can edit it. And PSD you can edit as well. Just trying to. So this one is basically the signage file for events. Again, we have them all printed. We have minimum 2 copies of them, laminated, 2 laminated and 1 and are not laminated. And they're all in the bookshop. So that is in this folder, this file. So if you ever need to edit something or need to add labels to it, it's always best if we are creating a new category to add it to this file so that it remains on record. So that if you ever need to go back to it and reprint it, then you haven't lost the previous version of the file either. You haven't lost the other signages. So that's all. And this is just a signage tracker that was done to kind of do an inventory of everything that's been printed and make sure that we have enough of all the labels, all the signages that we need for events specifically. So things that we would put on the racks. Next, we have logos. So there's different versions of the logo, different sizes. These are all useful. This is the video that we made that's with Vani, just the Vani logo. So you'll see here. It has its own background music, which I usually remove. It's not loading with this, but I'm sure you've seen it. We usually add it at the beginning or at the end of all our presentations, so that they're in a loop of that, in the loop when it's playing at an event. Maintenance is any files that we keep. So system cleanup files, which we started end of last year to check pricing for different products. That's here. This actually we had these files that we were using. So that's all for maintenance. So you'll see notes in the files, and if you ever want to explore that. Manuals and templates. So these are all the manuals that are saved. They're written manuals. So videos are 3 of them were saved here, but they're also on YouTube. So that it doesn't take up space here, we've only been uploading it on YouTube. But all the physical ones that are printed and saved some in the bookshop are all here. And that's all manuals. The templates are basically templates that have been created that you can just pick and and delete the content of the text boxes and use the structure to populate it with a new event. So targets, how to set targets, how to do the save work plans. You can remove the names, but and you can change the date and all of that, but you have the structure there. Same with Acharya Visit, Satsang Room Tally. That's not really used as much, but it's there for you in case you want to use. Let's say Sattavis, if you're doing another event, you can literally open it, edit the structure again, because the layout is all there. So things like that. So that's what I mean by templates over here. So that's the manuals and templates folder. Then we have marketing and launches. Now this is quite a comprehensive one. So we have all the images that we have produced for the bookshop, for Vani, for the last 2 years, I'd say. This is just brainstorming inspirational images that I have kept. Now every stream has a different dimension that we have to use. So Facebook has, for instance, cover has a different dimension. So if you open the PSD file or the TIFF file, you will find in Photoshop, you will find all the layers, and but the dimension is there, so you can literally just edit it, save it as a new file, and that's it. You're ready to go. So you're not trying to explore different dimensions over and over again. Then we have, so you'll see difference of flyer, e-bookshop images, so that's the front of the website. MailChimp images for the mail out, product images. Product images are just kept as is, so you can upload it. Then we have so you'll see all the files here. That's pretty much everything that's there in the marketing and launches folder. Ordering analysis, so this is all the analysis that has been done over the last 1.5 years. So you can pick on that, on these files, to kind of get a feel of what was done. It's quite self-explanatory. Production is, we only produced one DVD when Swamiji came in 2016, and all the files have been kept here. So this is the template for a 4 DVD set that the supplier gave us. So this, we've kind of saved it in case we wanted to use it ever. And this is the DVD that was produced. So then you'll see all the files, mostly the design files. That's what this has. So if you ever need to access it, you can from there. Then we have reports. So reports, again, there have been different versions and different types of reports. So till totals is what we used to use until almost beginning first quarter of 2016, but the template was then updated and we stopped using a template for that. We used more the monthly folder. You'll see the deposit calculation because we started depositing the money. So the process kind of changed a little bit. So you'll see that. But the templates for the reports are all here. So if you ever need to have a look at it. Then we have stock takes. These are all the stock take files done in 2015 to get a more accurate idea of stock. So you'll see all the files in here that was used before the stock take, after the stock take. These are the original files for the stock take that was sent to us. Then we had to do a bit of cleanup based on what the report said, and then upload it. So all of that is basically here, including the proposal that was sent from the beginning of the stock take to get that approved by the trustees. So next we have supplier files. So supplier files only has a few things. So CCMT has a price list which they sent to us in 2015. They haven't sent us one in 2016. So that is here in the order form. So now they have a new order form, which is what we have to populate and send to them. So that's been kept here as well. The catalog, CM West catalog, CM West price list, that was again sent to us in 2015, as you can see. And these are the Upar catalogs, which were also sent to us in 2015. This was for us to get an idea of the product before we were doing the stock take, to kind of clean up our files as much as we can. And then we did the stock take and we cleaned up the file a little more. But it again wasn't accurate in terms of certain things that we couldn't check, like we couldn't check product type, we couldn't check what's the word? We couldn't check product type, prices. We couldn't check through different multi-channels. That because ebook shop was we didn't have a correct medium for that. So this has all the supply files for that. And the last one is the copper products that we got from Upar, that the catalog that they sent to us, that's here as well. So their images that they had sent to us, which are actually really, really well done. So we tend to use it for a lot of the marketing stuff. Then we have the website. Website really has different bits, but most of it is not really useful to us at this point, because this was mostly done for the module, the prototype that was created on Vent. So all the images and files for that. But the relaunch project has the wireframes and what is in process now in February 2017. So this is what was sent to the web developers finally. So that's where everything with regards to Vani is being saved. But everything else that you see here is not really useful to us anymore. It's just good to have in case we ever need to go back to it for whatever reason, or need to get some image ideas from there. Next, the last one, we have wholesale. Wholesale is basically anything that we order, that the big order, bulk orders that we have, that needs to be saved somewhere in a file. So that I started saving it here, but again, this needs to be relooked in how we want to set the process for that. This has all the ideas for it, I believe, initial ideas that the team had. So this is it. This is everything in the Vani Dropbox. Of course, as you open the files, you'll see more and more. But if you need anything, at least there's something which might give you ideas on how you can use things that are here, or if you ever need to access them again. So if this helps.